Hey everybody, my name is Dana Allaband and I'm Principal Second Violinist of the Lancaster Symphony Orchestra. I'd love to welcome you to my driveway today. Since it's such a beautiful day, I thought what better place to play some music for you and share this with you than in some of our trees here. So we have had an amazing spring and I have found myself outside more in the past 2.5 months than I've probably been outside in the past year. And it's been amazing. It's one of those silver linings I think that I've found through this really strange time. So I'm just happy to be able to play a little bit for you and share this with you. The piece I want to play is by Allaband, who is more of a virtuosic pianist and composer, but he did write this piece for solo violin and he nailed it. It's really fun. It's one of my husband's favorite pieces, and whenever I have something I need to play for and I ask him what should I do for this, he always says, oh, do the one that sounds like guitar because everybody loves it. So I hope you enjoy this. It's an excerpt from Astorias and Leunda, is what it's called, and you'll hear two different melodies going on in here. The first one is more of a fast, flourishing dance. You'll hear taps of shoes and swooshes of flamenco dresses, and then at the end of this driving force comes a really long note. And then the second melody comes in and it's more of a lyrical, contemplative melody that follows all the energy. It just winds down to the end of the piece. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And here is Astorias and Leunda. So here we are now in my music room in our home, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about how I started playing the violin. So I started taking actual lessons when I was 8 years old, but I really wanted to play starting at 6 years old because I have an older brother. He's 4 years older than me, and he had started playing probably when I was 6, and I just wanted to do everything that he did because he's the older brother and what he does is the coolest thing ever. So I really wanted to play. So my parents made sure that it's something I wanted to do, and I must have asked for at least a year, can I get lessons? Can I get lessons? So finally I did, and I started taking lessons at Minersville Elementary School. Now our school did not offer any string program where I went, so I was lucky enough to have Simone Maurer and his wife Agnes come to the school, and they would teach a couple of us at a time in the library. So I got to get out of class. This was in 3rd grade. I got to get out of Mr. McBreen's class to go and take some lessons. And a few times, Mr. McBreen, my teacher there, if he ever sees this, you were my favorite teacher. He used to have somebody come and look over his class for a half hour every so often, just to come and watch our lessons, because he thought it was the coolest thing, and he just thought it was such a great opportunity for us, and he wanted to see what it was about. So I had support of my family, I had support of my teachers at school, and then I had Simone and Agnes for years and years to come. So I took lessons with Simone specifically until I graduated high school. So while I was learning, my mom would play piano with us a little bit. She was playing with us through Suzuki Book 1 or so. And then after that, my grandfather was quite the accordion player. So coolest thing was to be able to play and have, have an accordion as your backup. So one of my favorite musical memories that I have is playing, this was later as high school, when I played the Monty Chardash. My grandfather would sit down with his accordion and he just made up the accompaniment. And it's one of the most amazing memories I have, and I'm so happy for that. So after high school, I went to college. I went to Westchester University and studied with Sylvia Aramjian for 4 years and had a great time there, and then moved on to University of Maryland for my graduate work. And there I got to study with James Stern, and we were so lucky there because the Guarneri String Quartet was in residence. So I got not only private lessons with Arnold Steinhardt, but chamber music coachings with the full quartet. It was an amazing experience, and I'm just so blessed and lucky to have had that opportunity with them. I wanted to show you one of the very first violins that I had that was one that I set out to purchase. Up until this point, all of my violins were hand-me-downs from my brother, and all of his violins, the majority of them, had come from yard sales and flea markets for cheap, real cheap. But we got them fixed up and playable, and somehow they all had really nice sounds. It was pretty fantastic. But this violin right here, I kept it forever, and I can never get rid of it. It was not very expensive, but it's the first one that I bought for me. And this one is from 1849. This is a nice little oldie right here. And I just wanted to show you because it's so beautiful. All of the engravings you can see around the side here. And there's a story that goes behind this too that I'll share. And then we have this beautiful scroll. And then there's some engravings here and here. This was my senior year in high school violin, and this got me through my my undergraduate degree. I graduated with this violin, and it looks it has a pretty sound. Doesn't project at all, but it's a really pretty sound. So I could not bear to get rid of it. So I will keep this forever. But here's the thing about this violin is that if you look real close, there's a little crack right there, a little crack right there. So when I was tuning, maybe senior year, I might have been tuning the violin, and I was holding it here, and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing, and the whole scroll cracks right off. This came right off, and I was in tears. This was like the first one that was mine, and I broke it. How is that even possible? So I gathered myself together. I gathered up my 2 pieces of a violin that should just be one, and I took it to a fellow in Reading, and he did that amazing job. You can barely even see that there was damage, and that was a long time ago. So that's the story of this guy right here. And now let me show you the violin that I currently play on. This one I got at the very end of grad school, and this is a new violin. This is a modern 2006 Italian instrument, and I love this violin. It's an exact replica of a Guadagnini. As much as I love a real Guadagnini, this is the next best thing, if you ask me. And they copied it so well that all of these little inflections, right down to here, right over here, all these little marks and grooves and things. That's a modern crack right there. But all these grooves and the beautiful back. Let me move that. The beautiful back here, the way the coloring is, all of this is exactly like the original Guadagnini. And this comes from the shop of Andre Zonre and Scrolovezza. And Zonre was the specific maker that made this instrument. So I do love it. I don't know if this will be the instrument I play for the rest of forever, but it's been a part of me since 2008. I am clearly the longest owner of it. There was one owner before that was just a very brief time, but so this has become a big part of me. So we'll see if it stays with me forever or if I'll find that Guadagnini. So you've been looking at this double bass here for a while now, and you're probably wondering, like, does she play the double bass too? The answer is no, absolutely not. I have tried and tinkered around with it, but have proven to be very unsuccessful at this instrument. This is my husband's double bass. He's more of an electric player right now, which would explain these amps right here. But he decided he wanted to do some more upright work. So I told him to call none other than principal bassist of the Lancaster Symphony, Brent Edmondson. So Brent was kind enough to come over, and they worked together for a while, and that's very cool that they made a musical relationship in that fashion. As for me, there's a case up here, up in the corner here, that is a viola. So I also do play viola, but let me be very clear, I am not a violist, but I can get it done if it needs to happen. So I do play that, and then my latest adventure has been playing the lever harp, or trying to play the lever harp. It has proven to be a very fun challenge for my mind. I've been reading one clef my whole life for violin, and now I have two clefs and two hands where my fingers are doing all these different things. And the thing I found is that even if you play wrong notes, and I do on the harp, it still sounds gorgeous. It's a harp. There's no way to really make it sound bad, and I'm sure harpists would disagree with that, but this is just my pastime fun attempt at something. So my advice to anyone who's wondered about or thought about starting another instrument or starting an instrument for the first time in their life, I would say just do it. And the thing you have to do is just never take yourself too seriously, because that'll just suck the fun right out of it. But absolutely, it's never too late to learn something or try and learn something new. And it's really great for your mind and for your zest of playing music, just to try, if nothing else. Just give it a shot. So now, what kind of music do I like to play the most on the violin? I think chamber music is my first love and first passion when it comes to what kind of music to play. And that can be any genre. I just like the setting of fewer players. It's such a different conversation to have when there's only 3 of you or 4 or even 8 as an octet. I love playing all of that, but it's much more of a close dialogue than with a symphony orchestra, because you have more to say to one another somehow, I feel. So I've been lucky enough to be in Elysium Camerata for many years, and I've also been a part of a piano trio with Sarah Mayle, Salisi, and I've been part of the Azrael String Quartet. This was formed by Andrew Lipke, a singer-songwriter out of Philadelphia, and we got to do some fun XPN shows and indie rock kind of style, singer-songwriter material, all fresh material, some covers. And that was really a great time. And then one of my newest groups is the Mill Race Collective, which does a lot of, it's taking classical music into restaurants and bars, and I'm finding that people love Haydn and people love Vivaldi, things they never thought they would like as much as they do. So that's been a really interesting thing to try, is taking our kind of music out into the world in that fashion. I remember the very first time I ever played with Lancaster Symphony Orchestra. It's so vivid in my mind, I'll never forget it. I was set to play assistant principal second violin, and sitting with a woman named Carol Armstrong. For any of you who remember her, she played there for years and years, and I had never met her before. So I walk on stage from backstage, and I come out, and I see the Fulton. I see the tiers of the Fulton Opera House as I'm walking to the first stand of the second violins, and I sit down there, and Carol's smiling away at me, and I look out, and just the feel of the whole venue just made me think, oh man, I could get used to playing here. And at that point in time, I was hoping to play there more, but I didn't know. I was just a substitute. So if we fast forward, I haven't stopped playing there. I've played there since 2008, 2009, and I've been so happy to be there. The people that I've met, my colleagues that have then become my friends, and the sponsors and the patrons and the people that keep everything running, it has just turned into a family event. I have looked forward to playing Lancaster Symphony more than other symphonies because of the way everybody is together, and we're friends. We're all friends there, and that's been the hardest thing, is to not be able to see them and play music with them and play music for an audience. We miss the audience so much, because that's what makes an orchestra work and what makes an orchestra run. So during this time, especially while we're transitioning with conductors and all of these things, I think it's so important that we all stick together and we support each other. So if anybody out there is considering helping the Lancaster Symphony, and any bit of sponsorship will do. A little dab will do you, is what they told you in school, right, with Elmer's glue. But a little dab of anything that can help us regroup and reform and come back and reopen with the rest of the world, it would do wonders to have us come back and play for you again and make a difference in the amazing city of Lancaster. It's full of the arts and full of music and full of life and good food, good drinks, good venues all over that city. It's blown up since I started playing there, and I really hope that Lancaster Symphony can continue to be a part of that and continue this genre of music that is the basis of where American music comes from. It's music of our roots, to play classical music and to play the symphony orchestra. And I think in this modern moving time we're advancing every day, especially right now, I think it's so important to keep some of our roots ever present and thriving and strong in this community and in the Lancaster community. And I just hope that you'll help support us and come back stronger than ever. From all of us at the Allaband House, we just wish you well. I hope you have a great summer, have a lot of fun, and we'll see you soon. Bye.